in the new movie, Michael, Jafar Jackson, portraying his uncle, Michael, is seen doing affirmations and saying that he will become one of the greatest entertainers in the world. What was Michael thinking when he put that thought to his lips and said it out loud? And what happens when someone changes their paradigm even before the whole world catches up to their vision? Well, today on the Interludes Podcast, we'll be chatting Michael and how to shift your paradigm and what it takes to be the greatest, even if everyone hasn't caught up with that thought just yet. I'm Val the Voice Johnson, and this is the Interludes Podcast. The Interludes Podcast,
a Pure Lighthouse production.
This episode is brought to you by PureLighthouseMedia.com, home to the book, A DJ Saved My Life, where the ABCs of podcasting and the personal memoir come together perfectly. If you want to start your podcast journey, schedule a 15-minute call with me, research our podcasting blog tips. It's all on our fully remodeled website today.
And now, all the way from the south side of Chicago, give it up for your host, Val the Voice Johnson.
Welcome to another edition of the Interludes Podcast. I'm your host, Val the Voice Johnson, and we talk music culture and DJ culture and entrepreneurs all around this place. And I was trying to figure out how am I going to talk about a book I've been listening to and the Michael film. Now, Talk on Tuesdays with myself and Coach Tony. We previewed the film Michael. I reviewed the film Michael. And I thought I need to revisit some of the things that I said and some of the things that I was thinking, because a lot of folks are thinking and saying that the new Michael film is excellent. Antoine Fuqua, who directed, Jafar Jackson, who portrays Michael, nails it. He does an excellent job portraying his uncle. And of course, Colin Domingo, who plays Joseph Jackson, the makeup, the voice, everything. You get into it. Michael, as many of us who are in the Gen X or older, grew up with the Jacksons. We saw them go from the Jackson 5 to the Jacksons to Michael as a solo artist. And there was something that he was doing, something that he had been training himself to say and believe about himself ever since he was a kid. Now, I've heard this from singers that are a part of groups. If you decide you want to do something by yourself and be a solo artist and be known as that, that could be a little scary. Michael, in the film, portrayed by his nephew, you see him doing affirmations, writing them down, coming up with great ideas for some of the very famous albums we would be introduced to during this 2-hour film, and him kind of making this statement, I'm going to be the greatest entertainer ever in the whole world. Now, here's the thing. When you get a record deal, for any artist that gets a record deal, it's a big, your life changes. And I can remember The American Dream. That was a TV series that came out in the 90s. Angela Bassett, Lawrence Hilton Jacob. There were a lot of people that were part of that series. And all I can remember is that it pretty much told the full story, a lot of the full story of the Jacksons. But I really want to focus in on Michael and during the film how he pretty much just stated what he was going to do, what he was going to accomplish, what he wanted to accomplish. And it's all about the paradigm. And I'd love to know, what is a paradigm? Well, my morning book club that I'm a part of, we've been reading the book by Bob Proctor called Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. And it really goes into describing what a paradigm is and how you can change your mindset around what you want. I think we were listening to session 4 today, and there was just some dialed down information that we got. And Bob was, as we love to say, was cooking. I was taking a look at some of the things that he was saying. And he was talking about when things happen, especially the things that you desire, it can be considered a miracle. In the same way that I said that the Jacksons, when they got their record deal, it was a miracle. And here's from the book. If we accept the idea that there's a miracle, then we accept that there is a guy that blesses some and curses others. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, if you're saying guy, you actually mean God. I know what you mean. And then I like this quote. In the absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily tasks of trivia. If you're an entrepreneur and there's a goal or a miracle you want to hit, you got to change your mindset or the paradigm. Michael stated and put it out there, especially accomplishing something bigger as a solo artist. I want to become the best-selling artist of all time, and I want to become one of the best entertainers of all time. He was pretty much affirming, and you saw the mind shift that happened in the film. He was battling against his father, Joe, and the vision that Joseph Jackson had for Michael and his brothers was that they were going to perform together for the rest of their lives. There was no separation. There was no solo artist. I think one of the lines in the film, Colum Domingo, as Joseph Jackson says, well, from 9 to 5, he's with the Jacksons. He could do that solo album, on his off time. Not really giving him the space to go and breathe and do what he wants to do. And you see all of this happening in the film, and they kind of really focus in on Michael and his mind shifts. But going back to, if you don't have clearly defined goals, then you will just go into doing what you normally do. For myself, I can think that doing the laundry is really accomplishing something, but I really need to sit down and write the podcast episode, or I need to reach out to sponsors or follow up with sponsors that want to do business with us. However, what is the miracle in your life that you would love to accomplish? What's the miracle in my life that I would love to accomplish? There's a lot of miracles I would love to accomplish. And I've always heard this statement, begin with the end in mind. So there was no way that Michael could have known that his album, Off the Wall, was going to sell millions and millions of copies and spur over 3 to 4 singles that did wonderful. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, one of my favorites. Working Day and Night, the title track. And of course, I don't know if it was a single back at that time, but it was written by Stevie Wonder called I Can't Help It. It's one of my favorite songs from the album. But how do you know when you're recording music which one's going to be a hit? There's no way. But if you begin with the end in mind and you decide I'm going to not just do trivial task, I'm going to put my mind to this, and I'm going to say I'm making one of the biggest recordings ever, even bigger than what I did with my brothers. This is what I'm going to do as a solo artist with this guy here named Quincy. It's going to take over the world. So we have to be able to break down the goals that we want to accomplish. Think of them as miracles. It's the end. What do you see at the end of the rainbow? One of the things that I'm sad that the filmmakers didn't get to, because I was truly introduced to Michael Jackson in the movie The Wiz as a scarecrow, starring alongside of Diana Ross, Ted Ross, and Nipsey Russell. We didn't see any of that, and we didn't see him being introduced or working with Quincy Jones in the movie. And I'm referring to, this was Michael's first big acting role, and that was not portrayed at all in the film. So many of us who know the story or kind of saw the story happen in real time, we are thinking that wasn't an important part of Michael's life, him becoming an actor, him meeting the gentleman who would eventually produce some of his biggest records of all time down the road. When I come back, let's get right into what a paradigm shift looks like and how Michael did whatever it took to record one of the biggest and best-selling art records of all time. We'll be right back.
The Rise, NIL. What are we? We're a sports marketing company brought to you in 2023, helping all of our athletes unleash their potential. We're in the sports world because what? The NIL, name, image, and likeness, is where the athletes play. So in order to do that, we want to make sure we help them maximize their earning potential, along with the brands that operate with them. So if you need to know some more information and how you can be a part of The Rise, reach out to us at information@therise.com or type in www.therisenil.com.
Welcome back. Wow. I need to show this to some of you. So, when I was real young, and for folks that are listening, I'm showing the album cover to the Jacksons' Destiny album. Now, I think this was their third album on the CBS Epic label. And now that's all Sony Music right now. And I miss how they used to do album covers and then things inside of the album. You see the brothers, Randy, Tito, Jackie, who's the eldest son, Marlon, and Michael. And this was one of my favorite albums from them because Shake Your Body Down to the Ground is on this one as well. And I love their unity. It looked like unity to me. But of course, when you see the film, you see that Michael wants to do things on his own. For anyone that has been a part of a music group and you want to break out and be a solo act, that could be tough. And then, of course, if you're going against the grain that says, if you do something by yourself, if you sing as a solo artist, are you going to be successful doing so? So it's about changing that mindset that, no, I can do this. I can accomplish anything that I put my mind to. And I want to make sure that I begin with the end in mind and seeing the miracle at the very end, like right there. Like, I've accomplished this, and you fill in the blank. And with music, I don't know, it could just be tough. Bob Proctor is well known for being one of the many phenomenal speakers in, I think it was a 2006 film, yes, called The Secret. And of course, since then, Bob Proctor has gone on and created his own institute and has done many trainings on the paradigm and how to change. And it's been interesting listening to this change your paradigm, change your life. And I wanted to know, how did that intersect with what I saw in the Michael film? You start singing as early as 3 or 4 years young, and you're performing on stages. You're not even 10 yet. However, what has been shaped in your world is it's you and your brothers. There is no separation. It's you and the family. Because even at one point, the Jacksons in the mid-70s had a variety show. They appeared on many variety shows, and I don't know if you've been online lately, but on every social media platform, if you do one playthrough of something reminiscent of Michael Jackson, the floodgates open. That's what happened on my timelines. I'm starting to see everything that Michael was a part of, and his family. The time they appeared on the Cher variety show. The other time when they were on Don Cornelius had an afro and they came on to Soul Train. They were with Dick Clark on American Bandstand. And then there was a performance I saw that he did with Diana Ross. And I don't know, they looked real comfortable. And I was thinking, why isn't any of this in the film? Well, according to TMZ and People magazine, Diana Ross did not want to be a part of the Michael film. And I think that was probably one of the reasons why her introducing the Jackson 5 to Berry Gordy, all of that was switched around. Holly Robinson Peete played Diana Ross in the American Dream series that came out in the 90s. So I'm very sad that Diana Ross didn't want to be a part of this film, because to me it would have given it a lot of authenticity. And we could have seen her be an encouraging guide to Mike. But the rumor mill and the gossips are out talking, no, there was more things going on and she didn't want to be a part of it. Y'all missed an opportunity. You missed an opportunity to be seen as a mentor, but maybe, I don't know, and we stop right there. Full stop. I know Antoine Fuqua wanted to make sure that this film got done and released. So, as I said in my review with Talk on Tuesdays, I think I gave it a B-. Number one, because I love the performances of Jafar Jackson. And let me also mention Nia Long as Katherine Jackson. She did a phenomenal job. And all the other actors, Giuliano, who plays the younger Michael Jackson, did a great job. And Lorenz Tate, who I think was only on the screen for maybe 5 minutes as Barry Gordy. Kendrick Sampson, who portrays Quincy Jones. So much great talent. Miles Teller as Michael's attorney. I wanted more, and a lot of folks wanted more. They really focused in on the Victory tour, and unfortunately, the accident that Michael had coming down the stairs, that was very well documented back in the 80s when I was growing up. And the one time that I saw Michael Jackson in person was during the Victory tour. And that was Soldier Field, 1984. It was a phenomenal experience. I had a blast. Well, here's the thing. As we think about paradigms and what it means to do a complete mind shift, we have to manifest what we want. And I've heard that before. And in the film, Michael is seen manifesting that he wants to become one of the best-selling artists and one of the greatest entertainers of all time. You see him doing that. So can't we, as entrepreneurs, as DJs, as authors, as podcasters, think about the miracle that you want to accomplish and say, I can do that? Now, for my faith-filled folks that are in the audience, I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That to me is a biblical affirmation. But then there is literally stating what you want and seeing the end. And miracles, according to the Bob Proctor way of thinking, or the luck of the words that we invent to explain unknown causes, everything happens by law. And that's why the law of attraction is discussed so much in The Secret. And I completely now understand why Bob Proctor was a part of the many speakers that were a part of that film. To me, that documentary. Oh my gosh. And I'm thinking about this. Faith is the opposite of fear. Do I fear the miracle I want, or am I going after it with all of my heart and soul? I appreciate Michael going after the miracle of being one of the greatest best-selling artists of all time because of his determination and his paradigm of changing his mind and shifting to looking and seeing the golden great miracle that he wanted to accomplish. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of great music, right? Thriller. I remember purchasing this album that you see, and I'm showing the Thriller album for folks that are listening, in December of 1982. In October of 82, The Girl Is Mine came out as a single, and my mom and I went to the record shop and we bought the single. My mom loved how the song sounded, and we here in Chicago had a FM station called FM 100. That's the soft, syrupy, Muzak type of music you would hear, and The Girl Is Mine definitely fit into that. If you took out the vocals, it would fit into Muzak, that genre. But I loved it. And my mom was like, well, when the album comes out, Val, let's go out and get it. Now, over the last couple of weeks since the film has been out, the streaming on all of the catalogs of Michael have gone through the roof. And it's like a whole new generation is picking up what Michael put down all those decades ago. Aren't we grateful that he fought through and gave us all of this good, great music? I know I am. And with that, I'll be back. Hey everyone, it's Val the Voice. We interrupt this wonderful episode to ask a question. Are you subscribed and liking this particular episode? Well, we want to make sure that you are following us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel because we want to continue to give you great content just like this. All right, I'm so sorry. Let's get back to the episode right now. Welcome back. Oh, man. Off the wall, thriller, bad, dangerous, invincible, blood on the dance floor, the History album. Somewhere in my home, they're all floating around. And like I said, I'm just grateful that Michael, the real Michael, had the tenacity to think outside of the box and go, I want to go solo. I want to do these things with music. I want to do music videos, but more than that, I want to do short films. Like there were a lot of things we do in culture Michael introduced to the culture. No one ever thought about doing a short film when it came to music. That was Michael. Thriller was one of the first ones. And it's touched upon, and you see kind of the breath and life of that in the film Michael, which I was very appreciative of. One of the reasons why the grade is not lower, because I wanted to see them reenact. Like, let's see what that is about. Let's see what that looks like. And the paradigm, what did it feel like for Michael to go against the grain of what his father was telling him, what his family might have been telling him? You can't do that. Watch me. And to have people that fight for you. His bodyguard, and the actor that portrayed his bodyguard in the film, did a great job and was kind of, they said, like a surrogate father to him, because they spent a lot of time in the car together, him protecting Michael. But of course you needed people around you that was going to not only cheer on what you're doing, but then for yourself, you've got to, as I said earlier, to begin with the end in mind. So as I wrap up my change the paradigm, change your life comparison to the film Michael, I'm thinking about you and your thoughts, and what are some of the paradigms you need to shift in your life? What is that miracle that you want to accomplish as an entrepreneur, an artist, a DJ, a musician, whatever that might be? And for myself, I'm thinking, if I'm being busy to avoid accomplishing or setting goals, that's not great. That's not good. And is my procrastination telling me I don't believe in the miracle that I have in my mind? If you find yourself procrastinating or putting off what you can accomplish as an artist, don't do that. Michael didn't. He really honestly could have rested on his laurels and said, I'll just perform with my brothers for the rest of my life. It's no big deal. But because he wanted to do something on his own, with the first step of him becoming an actor, and then meeting up with someone as talented as Quincy Jones to help him produce some of the biggest music that our generation has ever experienced. And the new generation is saying, we like this. I know it's old music, but it's brand new to me. And anyone under the age of 30, 25, if you haven't seen the film Michael, I would encourage you to go check it out. For us Gen Xers and above, come on. Focusing on the performances. They are excellent. And you're going to see where some things are missing. Even entire family members. If you want to hear more about what is a little lopsided about the film, I encourage you to check out Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays with myself and Coach Tony, as we love to review films and give our take on what's good and what's great about some of the films that we have checked out and that we have an interest in, and the ones that affect the culture. So here's my takeaway. And I'm thinking maybe the real lesson isn't whether Michael Jackson became the greatest entertainer of all time. Maybe the lesson is what happens when somebody believes in something so deeply that they reshape culture around that belief. Michael definitely did so. And he did it again and again with every album release, with every single or short film. And we're so appreciative of the fans. He left us too soon in 2009 as he was about to embark on a tour in London. And it's just been confirmed by Lionsgate that there will be a sequel. The film Michael only goes from 1966 to 1988. But I bet you, when they go ahead and introduce the full breadth of Michael up until 2009, that'll be a paradigm to definitely witness moving on film. Make sure that if you are fearing to do something, think of it as a miracle that hasn't happened yet. And push past your fear and have faith that it can happen. I'm Val the Voice Johnson, and this is the Interludes Podcast. The Interludes Podcast.
Original concept by Valerie Johnson.
Sports segments for Talk on Tuesdays, produced by Coach Tony Thompson.
Original intro and outro music produced by Kendall Nesbitt.
The Interludes Podcast, a pure Lighthouse production. This episode is brought to you by our brand new website, PureLighthouseMedia.com, the official home of A DJ Saved My Life, where the ABCs of podcasting meet personal transformation. And now available in print. Order your signed copy today and discover how finding your voice can change your life. Are you a business or entrepreneur looking to promote your work through a dynamic podcasting platform? Partner with us through sponsorship and marketing opportunities. Your message belongs in front of our audience. Got that $1 million podcast idea, but don't know where to start? Whether you need a coach, a guide, or a full-on producer, I'm here to walk you through the process and bring your podcast vision to life. Visit PureLighthouseMedia.com today to get your book, book your consultation, or connect with us about sponsorship. Let's grow together.